Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. Today, I'm so pleased to be joined by gotomyerp, CertiPro, and VIP Integrated Payments. We're going to be talking about Sage 100, cloud hosting, automated inventory cycle count, and payments. And I'm joined by Mike Murphy, Director of Marketing over at gotomyerp, Simon Quinn, Director of Sales at CertiPro, and Maya Green over at VIP Integrated Payments. And a little bit about the companies. gotomyerp is a cloud hosting company for Sage 100 and QuickBooks. They've been in the industry for over 15 years, and they are known for their reliability. They've never experienced any unexpected downtime. They support Sage and QuickBooks, fully support all the desktop versions. Their servers are 100% dedicated with nothing shared, and they have a full service cloud hosting offering, including installations, integrations, upgrades, and fully managed hosting available. And their seamless integration with all the third-party products is supported as well, 24/7 support. And then CertiPro, they're going to be talking about their automated inventory cycle count today, their solution that integrates with Sage 100. They have a team of Sage certified developers and consultants, and they're very well known for both of these flagship Sage 100 products, Magento e-commerce, eLink, and the automated inventory cycle count, which we're going to be talking about today. And VIP Integrated Payments is a leader in integrated payment technology for North American merchants. They're differentiated because they have a multi-platform model, and they have strategic long-term partnerships with a multitude of different integrated payment solutions, and they can help execute everything on the payment side for Sage 100 customers, Sage 300, 500, X3. So their solutions are a diversified network of partners that they work with, and they've been building these alliances for over 10 years. And they are your go-to people to help you succeed and you grow, because they're very responsive and flexible. So today we're going to have Mike talking about gotomyerp and hosting Sage 100 and applications in the cloud. And then Simon will follow to talk about inventory and automated inventory cycle count. And then Maya will finish it up with VIP integrated payment. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Mike to kick it off with gotomyerp.
Well, thank you very much, Adrian. Obviously 2020 was a very different year for most people, and they did suddenly feel the need to move out of the office, and obviously getting their data off on premise to the cloud was a big task for a lot of people last year. So we were in the position to be able to help a lot of people. And I think the way we work with our partners speaks volumes. So anybody has a third-party application, we certainly, our engineering team will work with them directly to make sure that it completely works flawlessly in our environment. I believe VIP could attest to that. And basically cloud hosting is like a utility. It's like the electric, you pay your electric bill, you expect the lights to turn on when you turn on. That's like us. Basically, people sit down, they use our environment, and it just works. The nice thing about us is it doesn't look like you're using a software as a service. So you're not constricted to an RDP window, or you're not constricted to a browser window. It looks like you're working natively, locally on your machine. You can use multiple monitors and whatnot. So it's kind of a very pleasant experience. And anybody who is listening at the end of this presentation from VIP and CertiPro, if they're interested in taking us up on some cloud hosting, just let them know that Mike Murphy said call up, and you can have 3 months free hosting today just let them know that you're a part of this webinar, and we'll certainly take care of you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Simon.
Thanks, everybody, for joining me today. My name is Simon Quinn. I am the Director of Sales for CertiPro Solutions. Today, I'm going to discuss and cover our Automated Inventory Cycle Count program, or AICC for short. And this allows you to automate and simplify your inventory counts. I'll give a quick overview of the concept. I'll then jump into Sage and show you the functionality. And then lastly, I'll cover some of the reporting and how that works. So using cycle counting to maintain high levels of accuracy is, as we all know, is one of the best ways to identify problem areas. An effective cycle counting program like CertiPro's AICC eliminates the need for physical inventory expenses. So by performing regular cycle counts, you give yourself the opportunity to compare the quantities in Sage to the quantities counted. And this variance is a powerful opportunity to identify where your inventory system is working well, so there's little variance, and where you may have and also where you may have a control issue that needs to be tightened up if there is a high variance. So if you notice that your numbers are way off, you now are going to have an opportunity to find out why the problem is happening and take corrective action. So keep in mind, using regular cycle counts allows you to take corrective action more frequently. So for example, if you perform monthly cycle counts, you now have 12 opportunities to fix those problems that you encounter versus 1 when you perform an annual physical inventory count. So our AICC module is going to configure all of this for you. Now we know that I just wanted to point out, there's an important difference between cycle counting and taking the physical inventory annually. By having your warehouse staff perform cycle counts of segments of your inventory regularly, you negate the need for shutting down your operations for a weekend or for a period of time just to make sure that your numbers are correct. We all know closing down any business for any period of time is going to be costly. Sometimes you're paying your employees overtime to accommodate that, and then to perform the physical inventory counts, it's going to add up as well. So this is what our program can help you eliminate. You can imagine your day-to-day working life being made easier, but just by having a better organized, clearly defined logic to your inventory planning process. So with that, I'm going to jump into Sage. And you'll see that we have created the software under the inventory management under physical count. Once you acquire the software, you'll see that we will install the CPS inventory cycle count entry program here. Go ahead and open that up. And you will see that the program is a single screen user interface, very simple to use, very easy to manage. Your warehouses are up here. You can scroll through the various warehouses using these codes and arrows. So if you have multiple warehouses, each warehouse is going to have its own schedule. You can configure what time you want to generate the cycle count per warehouse. And you can also set up automatic email notifications by warehouse. I'm going to go ahead and enter in 000 warehouse. And as you can see, these 3 grids here have populated once I have selected a warehouse. So the top grid is a filtering section. The middle grid represents the filtering choices and shows you what you've assigned into the cycle count intervals. And the bottom here is a summary based on your setup. So it shows you how many items per day you will be counting. Up top here, if we look at the filtering, you'll see that we have all valuations, we have all product types, we have all procurement. And by selecting or deselecting these items, these filters, the grid will update accordingly. You can also drill down further. So for example, if I wanted to look at, let's take a look at standard unit price, and I want to do greater than $1,000, for example. Let's work with those items. So you'll see the middle grid updated accordingly. So once you filter down to the specific set of items, you can now perform your updates. So as I said, I've already selected the items that are greater than $1,000, and now I want to assign them to a inventory cycle category and define how many times I want them to be counted. So before jumping into that and showing you that functionality, I just want to cover some of these columns here and what these acronyms mean. So for YCC, up here, you'll see it stands for yearly cycle count. when you implement an item or you add an item, it's going to have a value automatically of -1, which means that you have not touched that item yet or those items yet. When you move it to 0, it means that you've added the item to be inventoried and counted. And then you'll also have a number between 1 and 52, meaning that you can assign an item to be counted once a week, once a month, or whatever interval that you guys you'll require. And the update's actually very simple. So you can do it line item by line item. You can also hit the corner up here, and it's going to highlight all of the items that are selected. I can head down to the count frequency, and in this case, I'll do once a month. We'll put 12 in, and it automatically updated the yearly cycle counts with those numbers. Now, if you're, I'm just doing a snapshot of various items here, but if you have, many line items, you can right-click here. You can export those items out to Excel, make those changes in Excel, and then import them back in just to make the process even more simple. So it's a pretty powerful process that way. Jumping here to remaining counts. This is a tool that allows you to set up items that are going to be discontinued. So we know that items are not going to be in your inventory perpetually. So this basically allows you to define how many more times you want that item to be counted. And once that number dwindles down, it's automatically going to fall off the cycle count process, and it's going to update the yearly cycle count, or the YCC, back to 0. Across here, we have FCNT, which is force count next time, FCAT, which is force count all the time, and then we have hold. So for hold, you know that in every warehouse, there's going to be scenarios where you're going to pull certain items temporarily to hold, and you don't want those items to be included in the count until that item is released back into inventory. So you would manage it that way. For FCNT, force count next time, let's say you find a discrepancy and you want that to be resolved as soon as possible. The item in question, it might be scheduled for a count 2 months from now, but you don't want to wait. So by checking this box, it's going to generate, it's going to be included in the next cycle count that's generated. So this item is going to be included. Force count all the time is pretty self-explanatory. You want that item to be counted every single time a cycle count is generated, and it will include those items. Jumping up here, up to the right for scheduling, I'll click on the scheduler, and you will see that this is where we're simply using the task scheduler from Sage 100. And here you can schedule the days of the week that you want to run the cycle count. Clicking on Active Warehouse, if you have multiple warehouses, this is basically where you will manage them. You'll have the option to have them enabled or not. On the options screen, there's various items here. I'm not going to have the time to go through all of them, but this is where you'll set up the email addresses for those individuals that are responsible for doing the count to receive the count sheet. There's also some various options here. One of the most popular ones is the rollover the yearly cycle count from large to small. Basically, it's helpful from when you're using A, B, C item ranking. Once all of the A items have been counted, it's going to start pulling the B category to maintain the same number of items to be counted per day. Looking at exception days, the exception days allows you to enter the days of the cycle where the count should be skipped, and these can be, holidays or vacation days. The holiday type is going to apply to all warehouses if you have multiple warehouses, and the vacation type is going to apply to a single warehouse. So while this is, the cycle count is generated at night, we generally set it up for a 2 a.m. generation. At any given time, you do have an option to do a manual generation and run the count as needed, but by default, it's going to go out at 2 a.m. and generate that count accordingly. So once the count has been created, I want to go ahead and let's take a look at the spreadsheet that's delivered via email to the assigned warehouse team. So once they open it up, you'll see that this is a CSV file that tells the staff what needs to be counted. So here you have the item code, the description, the bin location, the last date that's counted, and there's also a field for the the quantity counted, and they can input that there. If they do have this, if you have a scanning solution in place using Scanco, you can actually use the scanner to input and manage this, so they can put the numbers right in the scanner as they're scanned in. So jumping from that, when we go into the physical count entry program, we'll open that up. Here you'll see that I'm going to do the lines, and here's all the items that I have pushed to the physical count entry, and this is where they would input the quantity counted from the spreadsheet. So once the cycle count has been run and this process is all completed, you obviously want to know the results. How accurate is my inventory? So for that reason, we have created an explorer called CPS Inventory Cycle Count History. So this is the place that you will find the items that not only have a discrepancy, but also all of the items that you've counted throughout the year that have been accurate. And here, obviously you can look at how many items are being counted each day, what was the counted quantity, any additional info, and it's completely customizable. So for those users that are familiar with Explorer, you can drag and drop fields as needed, and you can use filters to analyze the data. And lastly, you can also export all of this information out to Excel. So I know I covered a lot here today, but I know there's going to be time for questions at the end, or you can reach out to me directly to do a deeper dive into your requirements for cycle counting. And with that, I'll hand it back to Adrian, and we'll move over to Maya and VIP payments. Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you, Simon. And Maya, you are up.
Well, thank you guys for taking the time to be here today. My name is Maya Green. I'm with VIP Integrated Payments. I'm one of the founding partners. And today we are going to talk a little bit about some mistakes to avoid with payments contracts. The agenda, we'll talk a little bit about us, some early termination fees, long-term contracts, what liquidated damages means, third-party uninstall process, some rate negotiation, how to support your industry or work with people that do, equipment leasing, grossly overstated savings on your savings analysis, and this is really geared towards the end user. 24/7 real-time support that is US-based, and why to work with a payments consultant. So about us, we are a leading independent provider of integrated payments, and what that means is that we don't work for anybody else, we work for you. So we set up what is best for you, what is best for the client. We work on a multi-platform model, which means that you have multiple options and your clients have multiple options for payment processing. They're not pigeonholed into one. We do provide an end-to-end suite of payment solutions. We work with multiple partners and have strategic diversified alliances. Have been doing this for, at this point, it's 17 years, and solely in integrated payments. So we do Sage across the board, all of their integrated solutions, Acumatica, SAP, Oracle, NetSuite, you name it, that's what we do. For Sage 100 specifically, VIP has been involved in over 3,500 payments installs, whether it's from the actual installation to pricing to setup and configuration. We've done about 3,500 of those and probably 5,500 Sage installs overall when it comes to payments. The goal really is to become the go-to payments consultant, and we really do look at ourselves as consultants. And what we mean by that is we try to have the heart of a teacher instead of somebody trying to sell you something. We want you and your customers to understand what they're doing, why, and what they're paying for. We offer differentiating products, and we are ETA certified payments professionals. So what that means is you're really just working with somebody that's payments certified by the ETA. It's not a requirement, but our guys are certified. It's a requirement for us, and basically with that you sign an agreement to a code of ethics and some other things that you generally don't find in the industry. So that's something that we really take pride in, and again, all of our consultants are ETA certified, and you can find us on the ETA website under VIP. So we will talk about early termination and long-term contracts. There are three main things that you really want to look for when you're signing up with a payments company. One is the term. How long do I have to be here? Two is indemnification. And generally what you're looking for is a mutual indemnification. Am I protected? Are they protected? And then three, are there any built-in gotchas? Do I have a liquidated damages in this agreement? So the term that you generally run into with merchant services is a 3-year standard term. We never do anything longer than month to month because we want the client to be able to be flexible and feel like their hands aren't tied. A lot of times you will run into that 3-year term agreement, but then they have the little piece in the middle that says if you don't cancel this contract or call us within 30 to 90 days, as you see right here, then it renews generally for 1 year. This one is a 3-year renewal, which is pretty unheard of. So you're essentially signing up for 6 years right away, and it's not the way to do it. So we always do month to month, and any of the vendors that we work with, we do month to month with them as well. So it's not something that it's a long-term commitment. We figure if we are doing our jobs right for you, that you'll be with us for the long term. And if not, then you have the ability to go somewhere that, you feel is doing a better job. Indemnification. So essentially what this means is that the company that is indemnified in payments is protected. What you want is you want a mutual indemnification clause, and if there's not one, you want somebody that will cover you no matter what. Again, all of our contracts are mutual indemnifications through VIP, and it's basically an insurance policy for merchant service clients. And then you have liquidated damages, and what that means is it's just a form of exclusivity, meaning that when a client signs up, if they sign up for that 3-year term and they do, say, a year of processing and then they decided they wanted to move to something else, what would happen in this agreement is that you would pay the merchant service provider whatever the amount you are making them is times the remaining months on the contract. So if you're making them $1,000 a month and you have 24 months left on your contract, you're going to pay them $24,000 to get out of this contract. And there are a couple of other little pieces in these contracts. Sometimes they'll charge you for travel time, for little ridiculous things. So read it very, very closely. It's one of those things that you don't want to, just skip over or, trust that somebody is going to take care of you. In our case, our job is to make sure that you know up front what you're getting into, and it doesn't matter who you're going with. We will help you no matter what. So the next thing that we want to talk about is the uninstall process when you're talking about third-party solutions. We generally work with solutions that are native to the software, meaning that they play well. They are not a third-party solution when it comes to payments. A lot of the third-party solutions that you run into, there are 2 or 3 really good ones out there. When you set them up, you will run into a situation if you ever want to get rid of them that you essentially have to uninstall the whole library master in order to get rid of them. And if you'd like to talk a little bit more about them, you know, we can do that. You can give me a call, and you'll have the information at the end of the slide deck here. So this is from a company that you know probably pretty well. In a lot of the third-party solutions outside of one, which is native to Sage and Sage 100, requires the uninstall process like this. So the next thing is how to negotiate low rates. We generally can help you with that. That's where we come in. The main couple of things to remember is to know the rate and effective rate of your industry, kind of what you're looking at based on the card types that you process. We always say to not provide your merchant statement up front, because it's basically giving them the incentive just to kind of do a level job, but not the best out of the gate. Always require an annual rate review of your merchant service provider. Never, ever accept a tiered pricing structure. There are a few different pricing structures. One's flat rate, one is interchange pricing, and one is a tiered pricing structure, which is by far the worst. You know, it's not transparent at all, and we can walk through that with you if you want to at a later time. And always request to work with somebody important, like a manager, not a commissioned employee, because they don't have your best interest in mind. And work with a payments consultant that knows your industry. Sage 100 is, you know, you'll run into a lot of these type of businesses: wholesale distribution, manufacturing, construction, services, chemical, food and beverage, and nonprofit. And you want to work with somebody who has been there and done that. And look at us when you work with us as an extension of your business, meaning that you hire us, we work for you. And therefore, you know, we work for your business. Never, ever lease equipment. We also call it fleecing because it's basically setting you up for something that's an absolute ripoff. It's generally offered by providers that don't have any real value to offer you. Buy the equipment outright if you need it. Generally, you don't need merchant equipment on the counter. It's just something else to maintain. But if you do need it, it's something that is very inexpensive just to buy up front, and you own it, and it generally comes with a warranty. Free equipment generally means long-term contracts. So outside of VIP, anybody providing free equipment, you know, read the fine print and, you know, generally steer clear. But when we provide free equipment, it's free. At the end of the day, you have no fine print. There's nothing in there that you're going to be charged for, and you get to keep it if you ever leave. So grossly overstated savings. I'm sure that you guys have been through the process of, you know, getting a rate quote or a rate review from people, and you're probably hit up all the time from, you know, the ISO down the road that's close to you that says that they can save you, you know, several $100s a month up to thousands of dollars a month. What you want to look at in our industry, integrated payments specifically, is the level 3 savings. A lot of these merchant service providers, if they do level 3, what they're doing is they're saying that your full volume that goes through their gateway is qualifying at level 3, which is not the case. You're never going to get a 100% clip of cards that come through and process at a level 3 savings. So just pay attention to the overstated savings, because a lot of times you'll get hooked in by the numbers that they're showing you, And then when it comes out in the wash in a couple of months after you've signed the dotted line and kind of handcuffed yourself that, oh, you know what, it's not even close to what they said. So bring us in for that too. Even if we're not the ones that you're going to process with, we do work with your partners and we will work for you. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that you know that you're in the best situation for you, regardless of if it's with us or not. Support is a big thing for us, and we do all of our support in-house. We're 24/7, and we are US based, so you don't have to worry about that. We really do think that good support is a cornerstone of business, and especially our business. You have to have a product that works well, whatever product you're using, and you have to have really good support for that product. We always give our direct numbers, direct contact information to our partners and our clients, and we want to make sure that they know that they can reach out to us anytime, even on the weekends. And us specifically, we have a big team of people to, you know, help out and support everything that you guys need, but we want you to feel comfortable calling us as well. So my information is here, Tom's information is here, and if you're in a situation with a merchant service provider that stinks and that you're worried about, Jay Reeve is a really, really good merchant service attorney. We've used them for a long time, and that is specifically what he does. He'd be happy to help you, you know, weed through the junk and, you know, assist with anything that's needed. Feel free to reach out to us first, and then if we need to get Jay involved, we can get Jay involved, but we are always happy to help. And with that, we'll talk a little bit about payments consulting, and I'll wrap it up. So again, we have the heart of teachers. That's really what we try to do at VIP, is we try to teach the partners and the clients how to best process based on their business. We are going to be neutral regardless. We're going to make sure that it's in your best interest to, you know, to sign on the dotted line. We want to find efficiencies and savings and gotchas that others won't find or won't tell you about because it's not in their best interest. And we offer multiple options, so you're not pigeonholed into just one option. So the value with us is you are flexible, you aren't held to anything long term, and you have the ability to reach out to us whether you're a client or a partner of ours today or not. So with that, I will turn it back over to Adrian. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with us, and I hope you all have a good day.
Everybody's contact information here. We did record this webinar. We will be sending the recording out to everyone who registered. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Everybody, thank you for joining. And presenters, you did a great job. We really appreciate your helpful insight with your solutions. And we hope to see everybody on a future webinar. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Stay warm out there.